Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. A very big hump day for us today in Bachelor Nation. Gonna have tons of content coming your way. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to stay up to date on all of what is going on. Clayton Echard goes off on his accuser's mom, of course, covering the paternity scandal, the hoax that has rocked Bachelor Nation and now beyond. I'm going to be discussing this, not only Clayton's accusation that the mom was more involved than previously thought, but we also uncovered information. If you didn't listen to this morning's Bachelor Rush Hour podcast, we uncovered information that shows the actual hard evidence of Jane Doe talking to her mom while she's on hold with Scottsdale police, and you hear the mom say a few things about Clayton. It's going to blow your mind, folks. I didn't believe it. I said, I don't know. I feel like the mom had no idea what was going on, but it looks like the mom, for whatever reason, may have wanted Clayton to pay the price. The price for what, though? What has he done wrong? And now, as the truth surfaces, we get to see how twisted and sinister all of this really is. Do me a solid, follow me on Instagram at DNeals for stand-up show updates and all other things going on. And also Bachelor Rush Hour, the hit podcast. I'll have more updates this afternoon. You also might be wondering, Dave, are you going to your hearing tomorrow? As you know, I'm being sued for harassment. If I lose, Jane Doe will have an order of protection against me. I'll lose my Second Amendment rights, and she'll use that as proof that I was the bad guy in her fight to say she was cyberbullied and harassed. There'll be TED Talks she'll be making about me. It'll be not a good situation. I'll let you know later on today if I'm flying back to Los Angeles. It really depends on whether or not she dismisses this case. I'll tell you right now, if she decides not to dismiss this case, I think it'll be one of the biggest regrets she'll have made, because then we will get to see through the court system how full of shit she really is. Now, again, stick around. I'm going to share what Clayton has to say, and then I'm going to play for you this never-before-heard audio from the Scottsdale police that shows Jane Doe and her mom in this sick, twisted game that's going on. All right, the Unplanned Podcast is enormous. And by the way, Clayton doesn't mention my name in here, I don't think. And so if that really pisses you off, which it shouldn't, by the way, he's, given me plenty of credit, and I've done what just needs to be done to elevate the story. But I would be remiss if I didn't promote our merch line, proud fan of Dave Neal, Some Podcaster. So if you haven't already yet and you want to support the cause, go buy one of these shirts, hats, mugs, babies, bonnets. We got it all. We've got parenting tests. You can do some they have a proud fan of Dave Neal pregnancy tests you can get there. Fake bellies that have our logo on it. No, we don't have those. All right. Anyway, here's the intro trailer, and then I'll play the specific clips. Have a listen.
She would send me these dating contracts basically saying, if you date me, I will not go public. We can figure this out behind closed doors.
You get that picture of a pregnancy test.
Yes.
Do you believe it at first?
Absolutely. Because you see a visual image and you think, it must be true. Because why wouldn't it be? If she continues to double down and the court just says we're going to dismiss it all, I'm absolutely going to sue her for defamation. And I will win because I have so much evidence against her. This individual has tried to destroy me, every single part of me. I need her to take accountability and admit that she lied so that I can be exonerated. Do you understand what you've done to my mental health? You've taken me down. I've had dark thoughts. I went down a dark freaking path.
So we're going to share what he said in the moment. And by the way, this is a professional podcast. I'm not here to trash on other podcasts. This podcast is so well done. They leave in the silent moments. Sometimes silence is deafening. The idea of Clayton getting worked up and then taking these breaths to calm himself down really paints the picture for what this has done to his mental health. And as an advocate for mental health, it's always important to make sure you check in on the strong ones. You might say, oh, Clayton's a big guy. He can bench press a whole lot of weight. He'll be fine. He's just like you and I. If you imagine him in the sand pit at recess, or imagine him as a 5-year-old son before he got big and strong or whatever. When you look at somebody's inner child, you realize, man, they are no different than you and I, and they deserve to get this out. I mean, Clayton deserves to go to therapy over it. He also deserves to get justice. Here's what he had to say after, and again, go watch the whole thing, but here's what he had to say about the mom getting involved.
what are the similarities and differences, I guess, in all these court cases?
Yeah, so the first guy, my understanding, his court docs were closed to the public, so I haven't been able to get those court documents.
That's okay. Mike.
All I know is that she claimed she was pregnant, and then I think she ended up going to Planned Parenthood and getting an abortion, taking the pills.
Okay.
And then I don't know how it was settled beyond that. So I really don't want to speak on something I'm not really familiar with.
Gotcha.
The second guy, it was. She claimed she was pregnant with twins, and then they were in court, back and forth in court up until like just recently. They just finished the court case 2 years later, and she claimed abortion coercion, where she said, she suffered, from the fact that he forced her to have an abortion based off of comments that he said, and then she took these pills and she thought they might have worked. They didn't work, but then like it ultimately did, kill these fetuses, and so but then she was taking them through court to try to, I guess win, like money from it, basically take money from him. But really, it's not about the money for her. It's just about it's about power, I believe. So she just wanted to basically like stay in his life so that he couldn't, move beyond it. And that's the frustrating part is, again, I have a weird soft spot in a way for her, because I really actually believe that the individuals that are the issue is her parents. Because I think they're the ones that have allowed this behavior. They're very aware of it. I spoke with her mother on the phone.
Okay, I actually wanted to ask about that, because I heard you say, I believe it was on Nick Vile's podcast, that you spoke with her mom.
Yes.
And immediately I was like, was it actually her mom?
It was absolutely her mom.
It was?
Absolutely her mom. No, without a shadow of a doubt.
You're sure that it wasn't her faking a voice, or it wasn't a friend, in on it?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. So, and this is, I would build it with everything in my heart. I believe it for a few reasons. One, I took the phone number and I put it in Google and found the record online that it was her mother. I also then watched a podcast of her and her mother speaking, so I could hear what her mom's voice sounded like.
Same voice?
Same voice as what was on the phone.
Okay.
Exact same voice. And I know that she didn't know how to do a voice in court, like encoder or whatever to alter her voice. I also, when I was on the phone, her mother was speaking differently, different tonality, different pace. A lot of times with this individual, she would send emails from people that claimed to be other people, but it had the same speech pattern, same language was used. And so I knew this is not actually this person, this is her. But yes, without a shadow of doubt, that was her mother on the phone that I spoke to. So her mother allows her, allows her to do this. And
is she getting money from her parents to help her fund these lawyers? Because I mean, that's expensive. Like lawyers are very expensive.
Her family's well off, and so yeah, my understanding is that she lives in her parents' casita, and she really doesn't. I mean, she claims she's a podcast host, but she hasn't put out she hasn't put out any podcasts in like 2 years. And then she does horse sales, but I don't think she sells. I think her parents do. So I don't think she does anything.
This portion of today's episode is sponsored by BetterHelp.
All right.
Now,
so good job for BetterHelp. They're sure going to need it. All right. I want to switch to the 68-minute mark here. 68 minutes here. And this is where Clayton really sorts of, puts his foot down. This is after, they've opened up and really get into it. I mean, we could go back and go through all the X's and O's, but we've already heard that version of the story. But this is where he's, sort of angry Clayton, justice-oriented Clayton. We love to see it.
I will either take 100% or you'll take 100%. And so I was willing to, like, if you can present evidence and show that you're actually pregnant, I'll step up to the plate. But I'm not going to step up to the plate until you prove it.
And with the lawyer situation, isn't there some sort of thing in the legal system where if you end up winning the case, then they have to pay for your lawyer? Is that always the case, or is that something that is added on top of the legal process?
Yeah, so we're going for legal fees right now.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's claiming that, well, I have a GoFundMe, so I don't need legal fees because I'm getting the GoFundMe. Well, I've burned through way more than the GoFundMe has raised.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
The GoFundMe, again, very, very, very grateful for everyone that has helped out. I think the GoFundMe raised $10K. I blew through that within 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I am well beyond the GoFundMe at this point. And I don't like to be, but like I basically have this, like the end is in sight and I can't back off at this point. If I back off, she'll do it again. And I know that I don't want another man to go through what I went through and what the previous men went through. So I'm like, I have to put my foot down on the gas and just go full steam ahead. And yeah, I mean, I'm burning gas, I'm burning money by the minute. But I'm like, I feel like the end's in sight, and hopefully this will, we'll get the justice that we need, and she'll be held accountable, whatever that looks like.
And obviously you've already said that you do not want anyone to cyberbully her or
no, I don't.
to dox her, and you just want, and you're not saying her name because you want to keep that anonymous.
Yes.
Which I totally respect that. I'm curious though, with pursuing this case, what's the end goal? Is it to make sure that it's permanently on her record that she's done this so that she can't do it to other people? Is there something?
That's exactly what it is. I would say probably nothing more, nothing less. I don't want her to do this to anybody else. This is the second allegation that I've been hit with. I got hit with a false accusation last year for a cheating scandal that I disproved, thankfully, within 24 hours. But I'm tired of my name getting dragged through the mud. And I think a lot of that had to do with people saw me as a pushover, and they saw me as I wasn't well liked coming off the show. And so I was an easy target.
Was that when you were with Susie that false allegation came through?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think people are attacking me because they see me as weak, and they saw me as, okay, I can, this guy, can't fend for himself, so I can go ahead and get what I need to get out of this individual. And ultimately he can't even defend himself. So like, I'll be able to overpower him.
So are you currently suing her for defamation, or is that a whole separate thing?
I have not stepped up yet to do so, but if I don't get the result that I want from this active court case right now, yes, I will.
Okay.
Unless she comes forward. If she comes forward and says, I made the whole thing up and I'm looking to seek to get help, then I will not pursue it. If she continues to double down and I don't get, and then the court just says we're going to dismiss it all, I'm absolutely going to sue her for defamation, and I will win because I have so much evidence against her.
And okay, winning aside, and maybe recouping some of the money you lost from missed speaking engagements and having your name dragged through the mud, all of that aside, does part of you hesitate to do something like that because of it robbing you of your peace, it robbing you of years of your life or months of your life that you'll never get back because you're dealing with this case? I
still get emotional talking about this, right? I mean, just with right there saying I'll sue her, like you could sense that my heart rate was picking up. I'm getting, my tone, my voice is raising. Like, I still get I'm very emotional about all of this, but I have to take a step back and I know that if I do decide to pursue her, that she will rob me of my peace for years, as she did with the last guy. If I'm lucky, I'll be able to, the court moves slow, but if I'm lucky, I might be able to get through it. If I open up a defamation case, I might be able to get through it in 5-6 months. If I'm lucky.
So he says she will rob him of his peace, but also at the same time, a lot of the hard work has already been done. He's already got all the evidence. He's already got everybody on his side. It's one of those things, whether or not he thinks he's going to be able to get any money out of it. And he thinks, well, she can file for bankruptcy, this or that. But you have to remember, she's actually used her wealth against him. She said, I've got resources, I've got money, blah, blah, blah. I mean, look, if he has to sue her for every horse she owns, then let's freaking cowboy up, Clayton. You know what I mean? We'll be riding around Scottsdale and Clydesdales or whatever. Clydesdale, Clayton.
More than likely, I'll be dragging it for a couple of years, and at the end of it, she'll just claim bankruptcy, and I'll never see a penny. What I was told was, unless you're suing a corporation for defamation, an individual will just claim bankruptcy if they lose, and you'll never see a cent. So I know I'll never recoup the cost. It's not about that, but yeah, I'll be robbed of my peace and my energy. And so while I just said emotionally, I will absolutely pursue her. If I take a deep breath and settle back down, I can't give that answer with full certainty, because if I'm just looking at as the right now. I hope I win this case on February 27th. I really hope I win it. If I win it, then that should be it.
Now, I'm not saying I'll go, but if I do, as a journalist, I will be live streaming afterwards from the court steps, as I've said I would do, to let the audience know firsthand what went down in the courtroom. That's assuming it's not live streamed itself. So I don't know. Maybe I'll fly out there for it. Flights are cheap. We've got friends in our community who have been so kind to donate us corporate coupons. If any Delta employees are out there, we also have Southwest employees. We thank you. Southwest, we gotta love it. 2 bags. I can bring my tripod and we can have a nice production value setup. It's no threat to Jane Doe if I would show up to report. Isn't that so weird? She takes it as a threat that people might report on this. It was the lack of reporting on these previous cases, because she did it in the privacy of family court, that got us to this point in the first place. And guess what, folks? The buck stops here.
And so that's all. I'm like, you know what? Until February 27th, I'm going to just keep living my day to day. I'm not really trying to put a ton of thought into it. I talk about it, on the podcast here and there just to get the story out. But then I go on with the rest of my day. I put it in the back of my mind. And I'm like, let me just, until this day shows up, like there's really no reason to give any more thought. So would I actually, I don't know. I'd have to have that conversation. If I lost this case in the family court, then I would have to sit there and say, is it worth it?
Is there some way that she could flee the country or change her name, change her identity?
Yeah, she tried to change her name.
And avoid, so she did.
So she tried to change her name, but because there's so many eyes on this, the public found it before I even found it.
Little Emily Wilson.
It got out online like 12 hours later. So she's already tried to file a name change, which just shows that she's dodging all responsibility. She's totally okay with changing her full identity. She won't take any accountability. That's the extent that she's willing to go to. And so I think it's a lost cause. I can plead with her all day. And she's not going, I think, to change her ways. But that's why, I can also say, hey, listen, I can feel for you because I know that lack of self-worth, I know what that feels like. You and I had that initial discussion. We talked about it. I know how you feel. And I don't think it's fully your fault. It's your environment. I think it's your family, like your parents. They caused this to happen. And you think they're your safe haven, but they're not. They're the ones that caused you to be in this situation. And I almost feel like, if you start to place like more accountability on them for what they've created you turned you into, this is their fault. This isn't all your fault. This is their fault for enabling you, for allowing you to become this way. They should have held you accountable from the very get-go, but they're not, because they're the ones that are responsible. And I can take that blame from her and place it upon them because I know they're responsible, because again, her mother allows it to happen. Her mother deserves to see justice in court. I'm like, you're just as much as the problem, because you're the one that enables this and allows it to go on, and that it was wrecking my mental health, and you don't care. You don't care. You know exactly what your daughter's doing. You know she's destroying men's mental health. I've had dark thoughts. I went down a dark freaking path. There have been points when I didn't want to continue living my life because of this woman. And I've talked to previous people and the same thing. They said the same thing. I'm like, I've been so freaking close because of you. Do you understand what you've done to my mental health? Do you understand that you've taken me down? And I get so angry because I'm like, I cannot believe that you're willing to let somebody potentially take themselves off this planet because you won't just take accountability.
Take a breath. I'm so sorry, man.
Pretty wild stuff. You see Clayton, he's a tall guy, he's a big guy. He's not allowed to share his emotions too often. You know why? He gets seen as aggressive. And he's not. He's not aggressive. But he's sharing his truth. And that truth is that we don't know. We don't, as audience. This is why whenever, you didn't say your name, or this, people bring other things up. We're not the victims here. He is. He's a victim. And that's hard for some people to say. That's hard for some people to cope with. That you can be both a tall, big, strong white man and also be a victim. Now, there's victims that come in all shapes and sizes. They're not always a perfect looking victim, but he is a victim. He's a victim of Jane Doe and of her parents to whatever level they are complicit. Now, we know from previous cases that affidavits say that her dad was, admitting, she makes these things up. So it's, I don't know. I think it's an interesting strategy for Clayton to try to convince Jane Doe to blame her parents, which, by the way, we're all a product of the environment we grow up in. So we have to have empathy for people. And at the same time, we all suffer, some of us do, from different mental health issues, whatever they are, which isn't an excuse for the crimes, but it might help explain them. Well, February 27th can't come soon enough. I may be flying out to Los Angeles today to defend myself from this same person who has accused me of harassment. We'll have to see how that goes down. Shoot, I haven't shared this with you. Oh my gosh, could you imagine if I just left right now after teasing this? Let's get into it. Absolutely wild stuff. Here's the audio of Jane Doe calling Scottsdale police to report, I believe this was, and again, I've got a lot of audio clips. I think we played 10 of these yesterday on the private Patreon. So if you want to listen to yesterday's Patreon, patreon.com/Dave Neal, you can hear all of the different clips. But this is Jane Doe calling the police. Now, what's interesting is the most interesting part of this clip is that they put her on hold. And when they put her on hold is when you hear her talk to her mom. Have a listen.
Scottsdale Police, this is Haley.
Hi, Haley. My name is
Jane Doe.
I'm calling back an officer who tried to call me a few times to take a report about harassment.
Okay, give me 1 second. Let me find the call.
Okay, thank you.
Now, I normally hate dead air, but in this moment, we hear Jane Doe's mom speak. Listen closely.
Electronic communications social media post mom, it says. Harassment directed at a certain person that would be seriously alarming, disruptive, tormenting, or terrorizing the person that serves no legitimate purpose.
Now, it's my belief that while they're on hold, they don't necessarily realize they're still being recorded. We've got Jane Doe's mom in the kitchen, in some ways seeming like she's teaming up with Jane Doe. Wild stuff.
But it's weird people just take his word for it,
Well, you think that they do, but I bet in reality they really don't. Because he's a joke, honey. He's a joke.
So there we have Jane Doe saying, I don't want them to take his word for it. And then the mom says, he's a joke, honey. He's a joke.
Okay, so I found the call. Do you just want an officer to give you a call now? Or when there's one available?
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay, and they might come from a block-restricted number, so just make sure you answer anything incoming like that.
Okay, I definitely will. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Hey, thanks, bye. Okay, we got what we wanted.
So, all right, so then you can go listen to my full recap of that voice note right there. But I guess that begs the question. I don't know. Do you want to change your mind there, Mom of Jane Doe? Mom Doe? Is this man a joke? The idea that he says people would be okay with him taking his own life because of the mental health issues he had to deal with here, is that really a joke? Pretty wild stuff. I'm speechless. Let me know what you guys think. We'll have more content coming to you guys right after this.